I think everyone can see my screen. It should be, yep, lunch and learn. Oh,
Yep.
yeah. No attendees. That's sad. Oh, hey, we got one. What's up, VT? Welcome, everybody, to today's Lunch and Learn. I'll be your host, Jared. I'm on the training team, and we got a couple of cool things that you can have access for looking up questions and learning decisions. One is our great YouTube channel at Decision Support um, YouTube channel. So if I go to youtube.com and if I go, you have to type in like decisions dash support. It's kind of, it's a little hard to find, but when you do that, you'll get access to our YouTube channel. We post regularly or weekly, update everything on Friday. We also post all the lunch and learns if you're curious what we talked about before on the previous day. We also got some really cool playlists. If you want to know everything about the repository, we got a couple of content here. If you want to know some unique step-by-step stuff, we got some content there for y'all. We got a little bit of everything. So go ahead, link in the chat to go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Send us suggestions of what videos you'd like us to work on if it's of interest to you. But yeah, we have the stuff there. We also have the solutions marketplace that will demonstrate the different parts of decisions by having pre-built examples. So there's also that as well. All right, we'll go ahead and end with that intro. All right, any comments or questions? I got the chat. I got the QA. I got it all, guys. It's all right here. So populate your questions, whether in the Zoom chat or in the question and answer, and we will get to it. Now, either build or we can just have a nice discussion over Zoom to talk about the issue or the build you're trying to build. So go ahead and populate it. Ah, any questions? If I could, I'd be like, I'm hearing the typing of the keys, but obviously I can't because we're virtual, so I don't really hear anything except the sound of my own voice. What's up, Alexander? Welcome to the Lunch and Learn. If you have any questions, go ahead and feel free to ask it, or you can come up on mute and I can give you permission to talk. Oh, wow, man, look at that. Okay, we got one in, guys. I'm gonna allow you to talk. I'll allow you to talk, but you might stay muted because I know you have a noisy environment. But we have a question. Alexander asks, can you show how to autofill to a worksheet based on data from a JSON? Essentially, when we have a form people fill out to submit quotes and need to update it to allow people to type in a passcode and have the form fill out based on the ID number. But what's pulled in still need to be editable. So, okay, so you can show how to autofill a worksheet based on data pulled from a JSON. So I'll answer it in two ways because I feel like there's a couple of things that we can do that may not necessarily need to have the, what do you call it? The JSON format, but I could show the JSON format, you know, however way we need. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to use my creative repo test. I was doing some fun testing here, so that's what we will do. So we have ability to create a worksheet based on some pulled JSON data. Okay, cool. So let's say I'm going to go create the static JSON example data. Let's see. I think this was the fruit. No, I want the fruit one. Where's the fruit one? I want fruit. Nope, no fruit. I like the fruit one. JSON example data fruit. I'm looking for it off screen. I haven't forgotten. I haven't lost my mind. There's a specific example that I like because to me it's a little bit easier to. That's a little too much. Yeah. Oh, I have to get it from a GitHub. Nope, don't like that. Test JSON, last one, and then we'll go. All right, cool. Well, I'm just gonna use the basic one that I found out on W3C Schools as just an example. So here's what you can do. So I'm going to utilize this JSON right here. We're going to create a flow, and this is going to be called autofill to a worksheet based on JSON data pulled from, yeah, cool. So we're going to call this autofill, what is it? Worksheet, autofill worksheet based on JSON. So I'm going to answer your question two ways. This is going to be the first one based on the JSON, so I'm going to create a flow for that. And then what we'll do, and I think I got way too many browsers open. Nope, I'm fine. Is we're also going to, I'm going to drag over this one. I'm going to create another flow, and this is going to be like pre-populating form. Populating form data based on ID, right? So that's gonna be two different things and two separate ways we can do that. So the first thing that we can do, so if I want to autofill worksheet based on a JSON, what I can do is, where is my notepad? I had it. I need another one. Boom. All right, here is the JSON. So the car is age, and we'll say the car is Camry because it's the only thing I can think of. So we got name, age, name is John, age is 30, and car is Camry. So let's say I want to add this into a spreadsheet. There's a couple ways you can do this. One way is you can create a JSON data type of it so that you can easily interact with it inside of decisions. So I would go to data structures, create data types, right? We can go to create Excel JSON, create types from JSON, and then I'll say this is my people JSON. I'm just that could be any name. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste this structure here, and darn it, it's invalid. I have to figure out why it's valid. We shall figure it out. Haha. Oh, I think I know why. Yep, I knew it. That's what it was. I don't have the quotes on Camry. Let's see, validate and nope, age. We're gonna make this undefined. This is the hard part. All right, I think I got this. And we should be good. Validate. Come on, validate. You just have to have actual valid JSON. That's the only prerequisite to this. Let me run this one. Oh, there you go. It is valid. Come on. All right, cool. So I have this JSON. Let me go ahead and add this one right here. So I have this JSON, and I'm gonna call it my people JSON. So what this does, it takes all of the named value data pairs and creates a data structure out of it. And this is going to be the people JSON data, right? And so now what I can do is I can generate these types, and so I can easily create them and then pass them into the environment here. And then I'm gonna go ahead and click create. So now I have a data structure that I can now add into my flow to fetch or to do anything with, right? So this gives me, so let's go ahead and do the autofill worksheet based on JSON. So now, let's say I have a list of these things. This is going to be static just for demonstration. I actually didn't need to search because it was already in there. I'm going to remove this, and I believe, do I have too much? I might have too much. My computer, I think I probably have memory or something because my computer is always slow. Create data, and I'm just going to create 3 of these examples, right? So this is my JSON FS data that I've created. This is just the variable name, but now I can go ahead and get people JSON. I'm going to create a list of these things, right? And then what I can do is I can build array. I'm going to add 2 of these, sure, 3 of these, and this is just going to be age. We'll go 23, car is a Ford, name is David. We'll go through another one. No, I just removed that one. Darn it. All right, one more time, guys. Age 23, car is going to be Ford, is what I said before. Name is going to be David. And then I'm going to go down. We're going to build data. We'll say this one's 27. We're going to say this one is Camry, and we'll say this one is Abby. Cool. So now I have 3 people objects in here that I can utilize. So now what I can do, if I want to show it on a form, there's a couple ways I can show it on a form. I'm going to go ahead and attach here. What I can do here is I can say, hey, let's create a new form. And we'll say for show JSON data inside of, or actually this is fill the worksheet. I'm sorry, filling the worksheet. So then what I can do here is there is a step that I can utilize called create Excel file, create Excel, create new Excel file. I have my data here. And then what we can do is we can get the types from, let's see, it's like get JSON advanced, get property names on object. So I can easily take in an object over here. I'm just going to grab the first one. What this step does is it takes in a list. Boom. So I pass in an object and it will tell you what are the properties on that object. So we got name, age, and all that stuff. So over here, we can see that that's the specific thing that we have. So we have all of the properties that we have on it. So cool. And so now what I can do is I'm going to go ahead and create this Excel file all the way at the beginning. And then what you can do is, I wish I kept the last one that I made because I feel like I've made this before. Because then what you can do is I can loop through let's see, this is going to be a very goofy example, but at least show you how to do it. I'm going to for each through the properties to the property names. And then what I will do is, I think it's like insert row. Let's see, insert, no, it's not insert row. There's an Excel one. Get values, not get. Add footers, create Excel. I know where it's at. Get value. It's not a get. There's something. Was it that one? I think it was set values. Was it set? Oh yeah. There you go. You right. That's the one I was using. Yeah, because then you can utilize a set value step and you can pass in the file that you're dealing with. So in this case, it's an Excel file. I believe the type is XLXX. The worksheet number is going to be 1, I think, or 0 might be okay. Then the row starts at 0, and then the column starts at 1. So we'll go ahead and set this to be set to 1. And then the value is going to be the item that we have here. So I can go ahead and add the item over here. And then what you'll see here, and then what we can get here is, yep, we go ahead and run that. Wish I would have saved the last one I built because I built one that's pretty much the exact same here. File name, so I'll say this is example.xlsx. Sheet name will be data. And then I need to do a show form download. I just need to create that show form step. Come on, work with me. Show form, and then I'm gonna grab create new file. I think I have. Don't I have this already? I don't know this project. Create form, download form for. Oh, there we go. And then we have a download file. File download, perfect. We'll say this is a button. Data name will be called file, and then I'll just add another button. Button, perfect. And then we shall save this. Come on. Perfect. And then select from flow, then I can go ahead and I think it doesn't output anything new, does it? Yeah, it doesn't output anything. So then I'm going to go ahead and reference this create new Excel file over here. I grab this. And then if I debug, I didn't map anything. Silly me. Oh, no, I did. I thought I went a little too fast. So I could download that file, should be in Excel, and then we could see the top part of it. And let's go ahead and open this. And, oh, I see why, oops. Almost had it. So the result is just car. So I didn't get the whole, all the titles. So here's what we're going to do. I know why that happened. In this part right here, I need to dynamically move to the next column. So what we'll be doing is I actually need like an add step. And now it's kind of coming back to me of how I did this before. Is we'll have to, let's see, the column starts at 1. Cool. So then what we'll do is grab an, oh, darn it, an add step. Come on. Man, my local is just so slow today. I'm not sure why. Oh my goodness. Don't you hate it when Windows does that? I just move one window out and then it just kind of removes everything. So I like lose all my stuff. All right, so I have add, finally. Add. Where's the add part? Oh, you meant to say form? Okay, cool. Well, that's easier. So let me just finish this one since I almost have this one. Because if I do the add, how is it not showing up? Okay, I'm going to remove this. I'm going to remove this. What else can I remove? Because it is just, my goodness, data. And we'll do math, numbers, add. Then I can say the value of the index and then to the item index for it. And then I believe that should get us, because I think it starts at 0, right? So the row starts at 1. Yep, that should. Column starts at 1. Okay, so that should, if I select this from flow, add the decimal output. Now if I run this, we should get a different example file now. Yep. So boom, I got name, age, car. So I can easily dynamically create a spreadsheet that way. Now, so that's the way of the download file. Now, if you want to do one the other way, where if you want to just have a lookup value for a form, that's pretty easy to do because all you have to do is just say, all right, I want a property since I have my, let's see, create, pre-populate based on the, yes, let's break it. What I can do now is I'm going to have a form that displays, or I'll have labels on my form that's going to display the options. Let me just delete. Okay, close this. And then where is, I'm going to close this as well. Come on. I'm still at 90% memory after I close all that. Come on. There's no way. All right, so now what I can do then is if we go ahead and I create this form step right here, show form, and I'm going to create some data, and we'll say get data, populate. Let's call it demo form. Demo form. And then what we will do is we're going to go ahead and I want to add a label here, and this will be name. I'll add another label. This will be age. And then I'll add another label, which was car, I think, right? Car. Boom. So I got name, age, car. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a drop-down list where I can pick the different types that I have. So I can say, all right, for string, I'm going to say this is a static list. I'm going to say this is David, Abby, and the static list. And then we're going to do the button scenarios here, right? And so now what I can do, let's see, what should be the best way to kind of illustrate this? So then all you need to do, so let's say the name is the ID field that I'm utilizing to fetch that data. I'm going to create an active form flow, and I'm going to say this is going to be get data get data by name, and it's going to run on the selection change of this. I'm going to edit this rule flow, and then what I believe what I can do is I could say, let me create this data for it. Create data. Oh, this is the people JSON. People JSON list. We'll go through here. I'm going to go ahead and add this. We're going to build the array, add another one, build the data. We'll say this is, and we'll say this is 32. We'll say this is Toyota, and then the name shall be David. And then we'll do build data on this one, and then we'll constant 24. The car will be Ford, and we'll say this one is Abby. Cool. So now I have my list. Now if I want to get the get item, let's see, there is a item, I think there's a by value step that I can say by value. Get value from JSON name. Get objects. See, I might have to have a stored data structure to illustrate this. I was hoping I didn't need to. Object. Let's see. Wait, there we go. Index, that's what it is. Index of item within list. Index of text within text. Item in list. Update list item by index. Now, I might have to create something. Here's what I'm going to do. Instead of creating that, I'm going to build it a different way. So I'm going to get some documents based on a name. Fetch documents. We're going to do a fetch entity step. It's going to be the same thing, but it's going to be a data structure that I can easily demonstrate because I have things inside of it. So we're going to go ahead and illustrate it that way instead of building a complex example. Alrighty, cool. And then entity folder ID, and then I need to have the I need to have also the document ID. We'll just do it by, or I'm going to do it by document entity name because that's something I could easily reference. Perfect. So now I have this item here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save this. We'll connect these two together, and then I'm going to save this. And then as I build this part, yep, you can definitely do that, Alex. I'm going to show it with what do you call it? With a document, just so you can kind of see what that looks like. So what I can do here, I'm going to open up my another local instance. Hopefully it's faster. And then for my, I'm just going to create a really quick folder, and I'm going to call this documents, house docs, and then I'm going to drag a couple onto here. So we're going to go to, we'll drag over this, and we'll add as document. We'll also add as the, what do you call it? I will add this one, add as document, and then we'll add, where's the fun one? I think there we go. Sure, we'll add like an IIS. So I have these three options right here. So I'm going to make sure that I get the names of these so I can use them in my filter for fetching that data. Boom, got it all. All right, cool. I'm going to flip back to here. And now in my drop-down list, instead of having it these three, I'm going to drag out for this. And then I can display, we'll say this is the document name here, size. I'm going to say this is file size. This is type, file type, and then doc title. And so now what I can do, so now if I get that by name, I can easily populate those items into that specific. So the entity folder ID will be this one. So I can narrow down that get folder ID, copy text, boom, boom. copy paste that here, and then the entity name is going to be whatever selected by the form data combo box selected. And then it's going to output that. And then what we shall do is we shall go ahead and create data. And we're going to grab the document, document. Or actually, is it the document? Yeah, it would be the document. And then I can go ahead, select from flow, grab the document. And then on the output of this, I can then map it to, I can expose the properties and say, I just want the document type set out for rename. We'll say this is doc type. And then for, where's the entity name? Document file name, sure. Rename, doc file name. And so then all of the form data to map into will be in form data. And all you need to do is go to this perspective labels. I think the first label is the not file name, and I think the second one's the type. I could be wrong on that. Let me go value. Cool. So now what should happen on any time I make a selection here, it will map in those values there depending on what I've chosen. So let's go ahead and test this out. Attach this here, attach this here. We're gonna go ahead and debug this. And then go back here, boom, see? And then it maps in that it is the title of it and any properties that I have for it. I could pick a different one and then changes that accordingly. So that's how essentially you would do it, is you would just say whatever it is that you are fetching, go ahead and add the fetch entity step or the query, or if it's an integration, then you can pass in that data. And the main thing you want to take away from is you want to say, okay, in my active form flow, I have set that on the output side to change the form properties on the controls I want. So that's kind of a short and sweet version of it. But can that field still be editable? Yeah, I just switched the control. So instead of it being a label, you can have it set to a text box, and then you can make that editable. So basically instead of where I have the label, just go ahead and switch it to a text box. So instead of it being a label, you just add a text box here, and then you would map in the data into it, and then a user can edit it and do whatever they want with it. Alrighty. Let's go ahead to the next question. Any other questions? I see we got Smitha and a couple of other people who joined the line, so feel free to ask any question. And I'll also demonstrate it, or we can talk about it if possible. Any other questions? Let's see, I think we got one. QA. Question about trigger flows. All right, James, go ahead. What you got?
Just came across this. I've got a flow that's appearing under several different states, different case entities.
Mhm.
If I wanted to delete the same named trigger flow from just one of the states, it seems like it's deleting that trigger flow entirely.
Yes. If you right click and delete it.
Yes. How can
Mhm.
I delete it from just one state and leave it on the other ones?
Yep. Great question. Actually, I think this is this? No, it's not a case. Let me go back to another one. So I have a case here for my example project. And what I do here is if there's certain trigger flows that you want to be on certain states, all you have to do is right click the trigger flow, set classification. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, then you have to, by line item, dictate which state
Okay.
It's going to be on. So if I wanted this on the completed state as well, I type completed and I save classification. And then if I refresh, boom, you'll see that now I have assigned task to procurement on completed. Now I don't want that, so I'm going to set classification info, remove completed, and then bada bing, bada boom, refresh the screen. It's gone.
Okay. All right. Thanks. That's what I need to know.
Yep, yep.
And if you deleted a flow from under there, and is there any way to get it back? Like if you saved it off somewhere else?
Yeah,
Because
so you
yeah,
deleted just the trigger flow entirely?
yeah.
What
And
you
I've
can
got it
do,
stored somewhere else, like in the project, but can I grab it and put it back there?
well, what you could do, so if you did delete it, you
Yeah,
can go ahead to the folder view here,
yeah,
and then you can change the view
yeah,
for
yeah.
deleted, and
Right,
then you can see all of the, so for example, I have this flow that is assigned to IT that I didn't need, and it's deleted, but I can right click and undelete it, and then it will come back.
right.
Yeah, because nothing's really truly completely deleted, it's soft deleted. So, good
Okay,
question. All right,
cool.
I'm gonna go to Smitha. All right, is there encryption for a password? Depends.
Okay. What I had was a couple of scenarios. One is when we are doing the setting up the S3 and stuff like that, right? For some reason, I know like when we add the modules, we can have that user ID, the one we're using and the password there. But for our project, I don't know why we have had to use those, the user ID and password in the flow itself. It is not picking it up when when we set it only in the module. So in such cases, is there a way we can at least not show it and kind of encrypt it? Am I missing something there?
So you're trying to connect to a module and you want to like encrypt it?
Like S3, yes. When we have the S3 thing, right? We are able to connect and load. All that is working perfectly fine. But problem I'm facing is that like at the module level, the highest level, like when we add that module, I know
Mhm.
we give the user ID and password, but I've had to give that in my flow as well. It's not taking it from the module. So each flow I am creating, I've had to give it. So I
Which
don't know.
which module?
The S3,
Oh,
when
the
you're
S3
setting,
one? Okay.
yeah.
Let's play around with that for a bit. We shall. Is that what designer features? Oh, I
Yeah,
always
I
forget where it
probably
goes.
might be added. Should
Applications,
be, yeah.
administration,
We should
features.
manage, yeah, features and
It's like something. Where's the My Apps? We hid the My Apps very well in version 9. My Apps. There we go. There's no My Apps. Come on. There is. I think it's back here. There we go. My gosh. Okay. And it's we have to go to modules. Oh, that's right. It's not My Apps. I gotta go to settings here. All services, features, boom, we're here. And S3, 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 S3. S3. How am I not finding it?
oh, it'll be AWS, sorry. Oh,
Oh, there you
yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah.
AWS. Boom. All right. Install.
Yeah.
Sweet. And then in version 9, I got to do the added as a dependency. We go to health. Configurations, integrations. It always changes so fast. Configurations, dependencies. My goodness. And then we'll go ahead and manage, and then we'll go ahead and add the modules AWS to it. Let's see. So you added it in settings, I'm assuming, right? Are you in version
Yeah,
9 or version 8?
9. We are on
Okay,
9.
cool. Version 9. What we could do is instead of always typing it or putting it in there, what we can do
Mhm.
is we can create, let me drag over one of them in a flow. Flows, and nope, that was too big. and integration, AWS, let's see, or S3. We'll do S3, and then let's say I want to, I'm just gonna drag a file one, because where is the region? Connect, please. Awesome. All right. And so I'm assuming it's this part, like the credentials that you guys are just building, all that.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Cool.
so on
What I
top.
would do, here's what you can do, is to make that more not just readily available, you can in manage, you can create project constants, variables, and you can
Okay.
create a constant. Now with
Okay.
this one is you can say that it's a password. So the string value is obfuscated. So you can't see it, it's masked. And I believe, let me
Okay.
test it here and say this is my
Okay.
S3 password. It's not really, but, and we'll say this is my, I'll say it's password, right? Super secret, don't tell anyone. Can't tell anyone. All right, I'm gonna add this. And now, see, the value is obfuscated. You people don't see it. And I think in the flow designer as well, if I go to flows, flow one, and then let's say, right, the role or the external ID, right? If I go to project constants, I have the project constants of the current project. And then I have my S3 password that's obfuscated even there. So then I click
Okay.
done and run it that way. So that's what I would do. And
Okay, great.
another good advantage of this is, let's say you guys later on decide we need to have a separate account for this. If you create it here and your project's running, if you just update the project constant, then it will update throughout all of the other parts of your project that reference that variable. So it's a kind of a one and done setting. So that's what I would advise in
Okay,
that area.
great. Yes, that is in constants and variables, right?
Mm-hmm.
The place where I create that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. This is very
Yep.
helpful.
Yeah, I feel like
Thank
that would be the best way to do that. Mm-hmm.
you. Okay, great. Sounds good. Thank you.
Let's see. Is there a module available to develop the APIs? Christine, could you elaborate on that? I'm not sure what you mean, a module to develop APIs. I know that we can configure, if you're talking about basic integrations with flows and rules, you can go ahead and open up the flow designer. You can add the API service right here, and then you can configure the different HTTP methods for your process. Like an API wizard. I don't think out of the box we don't have. If I think I know what you're talking about, I don't think we have a wizard straight out of the box. I want to see if I can find API wizard. Simplified. Oh, that's just Oracle thing. Update responsibilities. If a wizard. Yeah, we don't have anything specific like an API wizard. Basically, how you create APIs and decisions is you set up the generate service here for flows, and you could do the same thing with rules. And then you set up like what's the integration details for rules, reports, flows, and dashboards. But we don't have a specific wizard. It's just in the backend database, what you see, it's just a Boolean value that says configured for integration, and then the different methods there are for it. Yep. I allowed you to come off on mute, Christine. So if you want to elaborate, maybe I can probably give you a more refined answer. But from the outset, it's just kind of creating an integration via those methods. All right. Any other questions? How to set up an API to pull data in a flow. Sure, we can go over that. So how to set up an API data for the flow. I'm utilizing the serialize step. We have some APIs. Sure. Okay. What I will do is let me show. I think there's an example that I can go through. I think it's called dog API. Let me find the dog API. I'll like walk through integrating on that dog API, and we can integrate on that. So you can see how that works. I think it should be specific. Yeah, well, that's what I'll try to do. I wanted to see if I can find the one that we use so that we can set up, and I can show you how you can get that. Really?
I
That's
think it's the
disappointing.
third result down, if I recall.
This one?
One above it. Kinduff does it.
Ah, there we go. I just don't remember it being looking like this. I should just have the integration part for it. All right. Well,
API docs, I think, right there.
Oh, right here.
V2. There you go.
Thank you. Oh, finally, yeah. That's all I need. So yeah. So I'm going to create this so we can walk through it. So if I want to create the integration here, and then I'll also talk about the data output as well. So if we go here into the integration, we'll go to external services. I'm going to add a REST service. Service name is going to be API dogs. And then the service URL is going to be this. So can I copy this? Or not? All right, so that means I got to type it really fast. All right, https://dog API.dog /API /v2. And then what we're going to do, I think that's right, https dog API.dog /version2. Okay, cool. And so then what I can do is I can save this integration, and then I can create the method, and the method is just going to be a get method of get breeds. Get breeds. And the URL to this is just /breeds, I think. And then we're just going to get out the raw value. All right, cool. Hopefully that is nice and quick so that I don't have to worry about it. All right, so we go to get flows, flow 1. We're going to go get the breeds and integration. Integration REST service. Get breeds. And let's go ahead and run this. Perfect. Awesome. So we can go ahead. Now we have the data here. So you can see that we have all of this information that comes back from it. So you're utilizing the serialize. Are you trying to serialize it or deserialize it? Because that's gonna determine how that works. So okay. So if you want to get so there's a couple ways you can. So the easiest way to get data from it is, notice that I have my output right here, right? So what you're going to want to do is we're going to want to actually copy this and get this information, all that stuff, and we want to create a JSON object out of it. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab all of this, and I'm going to put it into just a JSON formatter. But what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove the status code and the comma here, because I don't need that for the process. Everything else has the data in here that I need, but I want to get it in such a way that is easier, right? So this is kind of, I'm not used to, the reason why I was asking Alexander is because deserializing and serialization means that I want to put it as one long string and send it somewhere for storage. Deserializing it means I wanted to get access to the individual properties. So that's why I was just trying to make sure that I was showing you the correct thing you're asking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go do just a formatter just to kind of get the correct format of this data. So you can use, I think Notepad++ has a pretty good one. Let me open up that, and we can go ahead and format this data. Let's see, let me just delete that. No, delete it. No. delete this. But I have so much. All right, and then I got a new file. Perfect. So what I can do here is I'm going to put this all in here, and I just want to format this. And I feel like I can settings. There's a way settings, preferences, style configurator. Nope, that's just the way that looks. Tools. Come on, there's a way to format. How to format JSON in Notepad++. Create a directory. That's not what I, yeah. Is it in plugins? JSON tools. And I want to say format. Pretty print JSON format. Let's see. No. All right, I'm gonna use an online tool because I just don't want to take too long of this to kind of show you the thing that you want to do. There's a way you can do that in Notepad++. That's recommended. You want to avoid putting like any live data online to kind of format it. But I'm just going to use this here and just kind of figure out, okay, line 1 for that. Oh, I didn't get all the data. That's odd. Oh, I didn't copy it. That's why. Control A. And then let me validate this JSON. So I can validate it. It says error online at the end, so I don't think I need that quotation at the end. And then let's validate the JSON, and boom. So I got my JSON. So why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I want to go ahead and copy this. And when I deal with integrations, I want to create a type from a JSON or XML or whatever thing that I'm pulling from. And so I'm going to do the same thing. I have the serialized version, but it's very hard to manipulate data. But I'm going to create a type from JSON, and I'll call this my dog API, dog data. And then I can click create. And then once I create this, then what I can do is on that flow that I have that actually calls, I think it's called flow 1. I already have it open. That gets all the breeds. Now I can say I want to JSON deserialize it. And do it this way. And then I have my dog API, dog data. And I can just pass in that string result that I get here. And then you can go ahead and boom, it will process. And then now I have access to the different breeds and the name and the description. So now kind of tying the loop on it with your last one, I can do show form on here. And I can pick existing, let's say this is the, I think it's the what, the grade form, I think. Nope, not this. I think it's demo form, that's what I want. And then now let's say I want select from flow. I want to say this is the deserialize. Let me go ahead. Okay, deserialize output. That's the name of it. And now when I select from flow, data, flow 1, rename, and I select from flow, then I get this deserialized dog data. I can get access to all the information. And if I want to just grab the first one, I just want the attribute and I want the name of it. So now what I should see is if I debug this, I can get the name of the dog, and it's the Caucasian Shepherd dog. So I can get access to that. To it right there. So it allows it to get a lot easier. So you can also use the JSON schema way as well. So it's pretty much the same process. If we go to data types integrations and we go to JSON, create types from JSON schema, you can just upload or paste the contents of the file and then it creates kind of the JSON type schema for you. So either or. But essentially what both do is they just create you a flow structure. That's kind of what happens and it makes it easier to connect to it. So. All right, any other questions? Go ahead, which question, BT?
Yeah, Jared. First, on the password, I mentioned that you can actually see it if you open DevTools, and you should be able to see that password. It's just a mask on UI.
Well, yeah, that's how it's configured, yeah.
And also, can you show for people how to set up a constant on the object?
Constant
Just-
on the object. Are you talking about when I go to flows and
If you
then just
create
kind of
data
create
object,
data?
or for example, data pair.
You're talking about just using you just want to create just a JSON data pair?
No. On create data, can you create data pair and set up a constant on that data pair?
What about that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, build data. That's a way you can create a data pair.
Yeah, but output value on the object, how you set up a constant on the output value.
Can I just have a constant? I don't think that you can. You have to pass into it.
Yes, you can. And
Go ahead.
yeah, if you change it from build data to constant,
It is on constant. Take it right here.
yeah. Now you can load from XML JSON. So if you type in JSON, it will set up a value.
Oh, okay. So, okay.
And yeah, if you create an object that says name and Jared and output value Rodriguez, curly braces, and name capital.
I
Uh,
do,
Quotes, name,
and I just do,
and output value set to Rodriguez. Again, load from JSON.
so I feel like this is a more complicated way to do that.
But it is a way
What,
to set up a
yeah, but what I would do is I would just actually just create that object pair here or create it like if I know it's going to be a string, create we have steps to individually do that already have that kind of, mapped in there. And if we don't know what the object is, you can select from flow and get it from there. That way, I don't
right.
know if I have an action to actually connect to this immediately unless I go into with the internal services or integrations to try to find it there. I'd say it just seems like it's a more complicated solution than just utilizing the predefined steps to manipulate the data pair.
Oh, right, I agree with you. But if you want to set up something constant on the object, you can do it from JSON or XML.
Okay,
I think people didn't know that.
got it. So for a recap, if you do set it to a constant, if I go to, what is it, constant up
So,
top.
for example, there is a step set property value on the object. It's
Mhm.
always object because it's generic.
Yep,
And
exactly.
sometimes you just want to make it constant instead of use another step to create a string, for example, and pass it on.
Sure. I guess, okay.
And I'm sorry to do that, but I hear people asking how can I set up constants on the object. Hear that a lot.
Yeah. Well, I guess, and I think the best way to handle it would be to utilize some of the steps that we have, because it'd
sure.
be very hard just to map in the file, because I don't have to type in all this or paste in a value, because then it's constant, right?
Sure.
There's a better, easier way to do it through the other menus.
Mhm.
So, all right. It is 12:58. That concludes our lunch and learn. Thank you so much for attending. That will be the end of our lunch and learn for this week. So we'll come back next week where we will have new topics, new things that we can, work through and kind of, go through. So thank you so much for your kind attention, and I'll see you guys next time.